I think we're live. I'm going to try to verify that here by refreshing. No, I don't want to. I think we're live.
All right, there we go. Okay, good.
I'm going to try to verify that
because I don't really trust these things yet.
by
Okay,
refreshing.
so hopefully you can see my screen here.
I don't want to.
It's kind of small. Let me see if I can
I think we're live.
All right, there we go.
Okay,
good.
I'm going to try to verify that
because I don't
here
really trust these things yet.
by refreshing.
So hopefully you can see my screen here.
I don't want to.
It's kind of small. Let me see if I can and see if there's any messages here. Okay. All right. So I have an idea for a game. This is like basically for the code jam. But I haven't done anything with it yet. So all I have right here is I have my index.html and I've opened, CodeJam 2025. We're starting from a complete blank slate. I've never done this before, so I just want to kind of just test curiosity here. What can Cursor AI do? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I want to make a 3D game using, I think it's 3D.js. Is that right? Or is it 3.js? I think it's 3.js. The 3D engine for web-based games. Can you set up the initial HTML page here in index.html? Okay, so I have Cursor here. I have the composer open. I've set it to agent. It was just normal or agent. I think agent was the right one here. I have an index.html. I'm in my CodeJam 2025. And I'm just going to hit submit and see what it does here. Generating. Okay, I'll help you set up the HTML page. I'll create a basic HTML structure that includes 3JS and sets up a canvas for 3D rendering. Okay, so that means I also need to bring over a way to view it. So let's see here. I got to get this page set to the right place here. So open file, and I put it in my CodeJam index. Open. Okay. Now let's see what it's done so far. Okay, we have a rotating. All right, so let me split this screen up a little bit, maybe. I don't even really want to look at the code that much. So maybe I can just I guess I'll keep the code visible at some capacity. But I think what I'm going to do is just have a little bit of a split screen here. Like that, maybe. Oops. Okay, we'll do this and go back to here. And we'll bring this over here. And we'll shrink it down. We'll pretend this is like a mobile game here. A little bit wide. Okay, all right, so this is interesting. And like I said, I don't really want to look at the code too much. My goal here is to not have to think about code. I think about code all week. So I think what I'd rather do is just kind of see what this, see what the vibe coding feels are like here. Okay, so the cube in the middle is rotating. Let's stop it from rotating and put it on a platform made up of equal size cubes. All right, so what I want to see is just a cube. So I wish I had drawn a picture in my head of what this is going to look like, but I'll try to describe it, what I have in my head for the game. It's going to be a cube
and it should be on like a board of cubes. So let's say like, whatever size, 32 by 32, 64 by 64. And I want to be able to move in 3D space. And the cube is going to move by moving, from one area to the next, just kind of like hopping, rotating so that it kind of like flips like this. So I think, I want to get, for this, my hopes are to see just how far it goes and see how possible this is. But my hope is to get that cube moving around using the controls here. Okay, so now I got to refresh here. All right, there it is. So I asked, okay, so now make the cubes each have visible edges. Their brightness should be a factor of the distance from the character cube. All right, let's see what it does with that. And I probably should set this to refresh. I'll wait till it finishes what it's doing. But then I'm going to set it to refresh every 5 seconds so that I don't need to keep refreshing it. So, okay, so yeah, so what I want this cube in the middle, and I want this other cubes around it. And I want to be able to see each individual cube, right? So let's see if it can do this. I don't quite know if it can here. So we can take a quick look at this little code here. It's actually not too much code so far for what it's doing. Not bad. Okay, let's refresh over here. Okay, look at that. Okay, so this is a good step. This is cool. Okay, so first, make the page refresh every 5 seconds. Okay, this is the hypermedia reload we need here. We're going to make it so that it reloads. Okay, so let's see if it does that. Yes, okay, we got a little after 5 seconds. This is going to reload. All right, okay, so make the floor of cubes 64 by 64. Make the character cube match exactly the size of the floor cubes. Okay, I'll just start there. Bum 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 bum. Okay. So let's see what it's doing. So it's going to modify the code to create a 64 by 64 platform here. And it should be refreshing automatically. The brightness should be matching based on the distance here from the cube. Let's see what we got here. So now I should be able to just, it's going to, first it has to print what it's doing here. And then I just kind of like I said, I'm kind of intending to not really look through the code very much. Like I don't want to understand how the sausage is made here. I'm okay with that. So let's see what it does here. And it should refresh automatically. So I'm hoping that it'll get to be that 64 by, oh, you know what? I had to refresh it that first time to make sure that it's doing that. Okay, 64 by 64 is pretty big. Okay, so let's, please zoom in so we can see the character cube better. Okay. And let's see. Now we can probably start thinking about movement. Actually, let's get the colors a little bit better. Okay, make the floor cubes black. No, not black. What color should the floor cubes be? light blue, but yeah, make the floor cubes light blue with a white edge border. All right. Let's see what it does here. So we're going to still have our green cube as our main character. But, you know, so the goal of this is to end up with kind of an arena, 64 by 64 arena. Okay, let's separate, let's see. I'm going to try and get the look a little closer here. Okay, so make the floor cubes have a wider white border on the edges. Let's see here. Question is, how wide do we want it? Okay. Now make the cubes darkness. Let's see. Lightness depend on how close they are to the character. So ones farther away should be black. Okay, let's see if it understands this. I want to get this kind of like Tron look going here a little bit. Or just, it should be just kind of fun, this fun sort of, you know, arena style thing going on here. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. That maybe is a little more extreme than I was thinking, but I like it as a start. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to do here? We want to give our main cube a glowing appearance. I'll say like a light glowing appearance. So I don't want it to be too much. I'm not quite sure yet on that main cube how I want that to look. But we are going to try some stuff out here. Okay, so let's see. How is that looking so far? I think it's looking pretty good. And if you feel free to weigh in on what that. Okay, we got a little bit of a glow here. I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, actually, let's see. So make the light that comes off the character cube match the color of the cube. Okay. Add 3 more cubes and place them in each corner of the board. All right, so what is this going to do here? So I want the cubes to, so this is going to be a 4-player game, and each cube is going to start in a different corner of the board. So that then the players will sort of move around in the game, and exactly the mechanics, I think they're going to have to sort of like capture property, you know, and as they move through the board, everything they move over will change color to, you know, whatever color their cube is. So let's see if we can get that going here. I want to see what this is looking like. Okay, it's suddenly black. Okay, where are my 4 cubes? Okay. I insist that you make 4 cubes, cursor. Let's see if we can do this here. Come on, cursor. Okay, it's generating. Now I wonder if it's going to be, I wonder if it's going to get slower as this increases. Okay, here we go. So now we have at least 1 cube. Now we need to be able to like look around, right? Or maybe we need to be able to change the camera view. Let's start by looking around. Okay, make it so I can look around, move the camera. So I can move the camera. Should we say with the mouse? Let's say with the mouse. With clicking and holding the mouse. And holding the mouse and clicking and holding and then moving the mouse. All right, so I want to be able to just like click and look around. So let's see if this works here. And maybe I should just close my index.html and just accept that we are not caring about the code right now. I don't even know if I can get rid of this screen over here. I don't know I don't know Cursor AI or Visual Studio well enough to know how to get rid of this. I'll just do my best to move this here. Oh no, it doesn't want me to get rid of it either. Split editor. No, definitely don't want that. Okay. We'll just kind of keep this open here. Okay. So I think it's working on that now. So what is it doing? I need to update the animation loop to include the controls and generating HTML. I've added them. Okay, let's see what it did. What do we think it's going to do? What do we think it's going to do here? Let's see if it works. Click. Oh my goodness, look at that. And I have it updating every 5 seconds. So, okay. Now, each cube should emanate the light of the cube on the floor cubes below it. Okay. So right now we just have, our one main character cube is emanating some light, but we want the other ones to do it too. Okay. All right, now we're talking. Let's click and drag. Yeah, we got our yellow. Okay, our green one. Oh, wait, what are we? 2 yellow ones? No, the red one, blue one. Okay. Does that mean we have 5 cubes here? Okay. So we need a total of 4 cubes. 1 in each corner. This will be a multiplayer game. Okay, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, do I? Make the green cube 1 of the 4. Okay, so this is just telling it to, like, instead of putting us right in the middle where the green cube is now, we've got 4 around it. We are going to move our green cube. Now the light on them is a little too extreme. It's doing what I asked though, so that's good. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, keep the camera on the main character cube. Okay, I'll modify the code to keep the camera focused on the green cube, player 1. I'll update the initial position and the animation loop to maintain this focus. Okay. All right, next we're going to start getting into some movement, which I think is going to be kind of cool to be able to move around, which means I probably have to stop it updating all the time. Okay, this is good. We've got our cam, we've got this moved here. Let's see here. Okay. Make it so the character cube can move by rolling in any of the 4 directions. Use the arrow keys and the camera position to decide which direction it rolls. Also, stop refreshing. Okay. So we want to be able to control our character using the arrow keys. And it's like I want it to be able, depending on where you're looking, if you press back, it'll come back this way. It'll sort of decide which back means here. Is it going to be like back to the left, back to the right? But it has to choose one of them. So that's what we're going to try to perfect that movement here. Okay, so now we need to refresh manually. Oh, look at that. We are moving. Okay, so constrain the movement to only let's see, how do you say it? Like to only moving exactly one face roll in a north, south, east, west direction on the cubes, on the floor cubes. Am I describing this correctly? That's the question. Am I describing this correctly? I think that probably got the idea across. But we'll see what they say. Okay, maintain proper face-over-face rolling. I think it got what I'm trying to say here. Let's see what it did. Okay. So far it was actually doing that. Let's see. Positive, negative. Okay, rotate 90 degrees. And let's refresh here and try to move. Oh, it's rotating incorrectly. Oh, it's moving so nicely though. And let's see if I can change the camera. Okay, now it's not letting me change the camera. Okay, so but maybe that's okay. Maybe I don't need to see the camera. Maybe I just, okay. Swap the camera so it is looking at the other side of the character cube. So the center of the game board is in front. Okay, that's one thing. Also, the rotating of the cube is reversed. The visual rotating of the cube is reversed. Please rotate so it looks like rolling. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so adjusting the camera position. And what is it going to do here? Okay, so it's adjusting the camera position to view from the opposite side. Okay. So now when I refresh, and let's see if it lets me, let's see if it's done here. Okay, yes, so now I can see the other ones. Click on it, and okay. Okay, right now the directions are static. They should be based on the camera angle. Let's see if it understands that. So, you know, I'm pressing down and it's like moving it that way. You know, this should move like a video game character. You press left here and it should move the cube left depending on where your camera is, right? Okay. Let's see if it does this correctly. All right, let's refresh. Oh my goodness, okay. The up, that looks nice. That is exactly what I'm looking for. The left, it's moving correctly, but it's rotating the wrong way. Back looks good, and this one is just rotating like not at all correctly. It's like rotating in the wrong axis. Okay, so up and down. Oh, no, now this is backwards too. Okay. Okay, so the rotating appears to happen maybe at local coordinates. Make sure globally it is following the floor and rotating as if it is rolling. Let's see if it understands that. That's kind of a mouthful, but that's what I want. This is the truth of what I'm trying to get at here. And I think I might need to make this game board a little more visible. I think it's a little bit too black here, maybe. Because I want it to have some of that. Yeah, I'm going to change the lighting, I think, a little bit next. Because I think this is basically what I want here. But yeah, I'm giving it a little too much green because I want it to leave a path of green. And maybe I'll just start asking it for that next. So let's see what we got here. Add a pivot point to track the cube. Let's see if it understands what I'm trying to do here. Okay, refresh and up. Oh, that is not quite right. Okay, that is still, yeah, something's wrong. Okay, so make the pivot point the edge that is getting rolled over. That way, it never goes through the floor. Right, so the edge it's rolling over, it's like that should be the pivot point. That should be the part that we want here. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, so big picture here. We want to have these 4 different cubes, and maybe I wonder if I should give them like you know, an AI, and by AI I just mean like not actual AI, but like video game AI, and kind of just have them move randomly at first. The other, you know, the opponent ones. But let me see if I can first get some of this movement right here. So it's kind of important that it does this the right way. Moves along these areas here. Okay, let's see if it gets this rolling motion correct. Come on, game. Oh, that's terrible. Just terrible. It is rolling through the floor. Okay, let me fix the pivot point calculation, not the trailing edge. We need to ensure the rotation happens in the right direction. Let's see if it gets that. Yeah, because that wasn't quite right. All right. So it's generating. So yeah, this is the sort of thing I would kind of like have to think about a little bit. Like, what is the what is the point that it rotates, and it's different every time. So you need to keep moving that rotating point. So I'm hoping that it's going to sort of understand. This is complicated, we get into some complex physics stuff, but it's the AI, it's computers. I'm seeing if it can solve it. Let's see what it does here. Okay. It just is not getting that part right. Let's see. Maybe I hadn't accepted it yet. No. It is still rolling through the floor. Keep it above the floor at all times. Let's see if it can understand it. It's like I don't want to just let it pass, let it get away with this. That's unacceptable. Let's see here. So if I do up, it's like, should I try and figure out what it's doing here? Or should I just let it figure out what it's doing here? Let's see how far I can make it to the other side here. Meet the other characters. This is already pretty fun, actually. This looks kind of cool, like what I was kind of hoping. So I'm a little impressed right now with this this setup, even though it's like, it's having a little bit of a hard time with this rolling motion situation. But let's see what it does here. Oop. Oh, it's falling right through. It's not right at all. Okay. It does not appear to be using the leading edge as a pivot point to roll. Please update. We will get this right. This is one of the most important parts. It has to look cool when it rolls around. Otherwise, that's the vision. The vision of like just the most basic form of gameplay here is it's got to move around. We'll see if it can handle this sort of 3D cube rolling situation. And part of this is how I'm explaining it, so I might not be kind of being clear about it. Maybe I should look into the code a little bit, but I don't really want to. This is the challenge here. Let's see. It keeps asking me over here, like, do you want to accept this? I think it does it automatically. I don't want to have to accept it every time. Man, it is just not understanding what the leading edge is here. Okay, so how can we teach it? Okay, think of the edges in, let's see, what do we want to say here? Think of the edges. What would I do if this were like a junior developer here? So think of the edges as no. Anybody have any suggestions? I'm going to look at the chat. I'm going to do a little chat check here. Anybody got a good way to say this? That is, I need it to rotate as a roll correctly. Roll. Okay. Well, I'm gonna check, see if anybody has a guess there in the chat. But in the meantime, okay, make the dark areas only 50% dark. Make the character cube light more subtle. In the meantime, we'll just kind of like change some of the look so that we can see if we can get that look a little better before. but I really want these cubes rotating correctly. These cubes should be rolling over top of the other cubes. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's just not good at all. Do not, maybe it's still going. No. Do not make it pink. Keep it light blue floor with darker areas farther from the cubes. Okay, does that make sense? All right, we're still gonna have the distance-based darkening effect. This is good. All right. So interesting. Good. Let's see if it updated. Okay. You know, that's a little better. No, actually, let's make it black again. Okay, make it darker and increase the distance of the cube light. Okay. We are back on the visual a little bit because, yeah, I gotta figure out how to tell it. Gotta figure out how to tell it how it should be handling our rolling here. This is the real challenge here, because this is where it gets to the nitty gritty. You have to like get these details correct. Otherwise, you can't make the game you want to make. So this is like an essential part of vibe coding to me. Okay. It is rolling backwards. It is rolling backwards. Please delete all movement code. Delete all rotation code. And redo to ensure that the cube is rolling from face to face correctly. All right, so I'm trying to give it like, just obviously you did something wrong, AI. Now try to step back and redo that whole thing so that hopefully it will understand it a little better. Let's see what it does. Okay, I'll help you rewrite the rolling mechanics from scratch to ensure the cube rolls correctly face to face. I'll focus on making it roll forward over its leading edge. Sounds good. This sounds like what I would want to tell it to do. And let's see. Let's see what it does here. Cube size, math squared. Maintain proper contact. Each roll is a precise 90-degree rotation. All right, it says it did it. Let's see if it did. Oh, it's so close, but it's still going through the floor. Oh, and it's rotating sideways. Okay, it's rotating in the wrong axis. In the wrong axis on the left, right. Come on, you can do it. You can do it, Cursor. Or Claude. Claude 3.5 Sonnet. That's what it says down here. Claude 3.5 Sonnet. I think it can do this. What do you think? You think it's going to be able to do this? I don't know. I don't know. I think next I'm going to ask it to zoom in a little bit so that I can, maybe I should have it do slow motion. Maybe that will help for some reason. Okay. Says it's doing it. And let's refresh. Oh, it's definitely doing it incorrectly.
The axis is a little better, but it's rolling the wrong way. Yeah, it still sometimes switches axis. Okay. You are still switching axes incorrectly. Sometimes it rolls on the Z axis. What is that? The Y axis? The Y axis. Top to bottom, which it never should. Try to update the code so it rolls correctly. Just like, okay, try to do it correctly this time. You're right, let me fix this. The cube should always roll around the X or Z axis, never the Y axis, and the direction of rotation should match the movement. Okay, I might be in the right ballpark here. It should look at the cube as a global axis. Like, I think what it's doing is it's looking at the local relative axis, and so it's not, it's rotating, but almost in a random axis, rather than it should always be, from a global axis. It's always either moving left or right, backward, forward. It's always moving in those same few axes. Oh, no, it's still doing it. Okay. How could we fix this? Okay. I want you to reset the cube to its initial rotation after it finishes moving, so that it only appears to be keeping its rotation. Let's see if that works. So does that make sense, what I'm trying to do here? When the cube rolls, or falls over, it's actually going to like boop reset. It's going to be in a new position, but it's going to reset back to where it was. So that way, all the cube's doing really is just falling in different directions. I just feel like that math is going to be easier, because for some reason the Claude 5 Sonnet is just not, it's not getting what I'm trying to do here with this cube and making it roll. Let's see if it gets it here. Okay. Ooh, this is promising. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic. It's doing what I want, but it's going halfway through the floor. Okay. It is going through the floor. Please change the rotation axis to one of the 4 bottom edges as it rolls. Okay, so now we're going to have our rotation axis is going to be hopefully just one of the edge, whatever edge it's rolling on. That's our new, rotation axis. So I think I made that clear enough for it to understand here. It's working on it. It's modifying general. I'll modify the code to make the cube roll around its bottom edge, which will keep it properly on the floor. Let's see here. Once this is done, I think I'm actually going to go back to the black the way it was before. Let's see. Do I want to make the edges glow maybe? Maybe I'll make the edges glow. Okay. Let's see what this one looks like. I think it's going to be... No, it's falling through. It's rotating too much. It's rotating 180. It is rotating 180. Should just be 90, right? Let's see if it understands that.
Yeah, the issue is how we're calculating. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see if this worked. We'll refresh. No, it's still doing it. It's doing it on the wrong edge. Okay. You are rotating on the wrong edge. It should rotate on the edge that touches the cube it is about to move to. So it is having a really hard time with this. So that's interesting. You know, I don't really know what to expect in terms of this. What it's done so far, I think, is very kind of impressive. But it is having such a hard time with this rotation situation that I'm like a little skeptical of how it's going to handle some of the more difficult game logic that I eventually want to put in here. But we're going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until I get this right. So let's see what it did here. No, it's just continuing to fall through the floor. I feel like I need to look at the code now. Yeah, what is it doing? Why is it doing that? Okay. You are still rotating at the wrong edge. How do we say this here? We want to... okay. Instead of rotating, let's see. Instead of rotating, make a new cube at the square at the floor cube it is supposed to move to. I'm going to get rid of some of this rotation stuff here, because it's having such a hard time with it that I'm wondering if what we could do is make it think about it in another way. So I'm thinking I'm just going to like have it put a cube where it's trying to go here. So let's see if it can do it. Okay, so it's updating. Yep, okay, this looks good. So how do we get this animation? This actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, I know it's just a little thing moving around, but you know, I like it. It's fun. Okay, so it's moving the cube immediately. All right, so think of the cube as think of the cube from above. It has 4 directions it can roll to. The bottom edge is where it rolls from. That is the edge where the cube meets, where the two floor cubes beneath meet. Rotate around that edge. Okay, rotation is a problem here. So now I understand the pivot point should be at the edge between the current floor cube and the target floor cube, and the cube should roll over on that edge. Let me implement that. Let's see if it actually does it. I'm trying to figure out if there's other parts. Maybe I should just accept that the movement it's having a, you know, some days seems like the AI stuff, it's like just has a problem with certain things, and maybe 3D rotations is just going to be one of those. I don't quite know here. Let's see. Let's see what it did. Ugh, it's so close, but what is it doing? It's like rotating. Okay, yeah, it's getting all of it. Okay, so the rotation edge is correct, but it is meeting the cube at the center rather than also at the edge it should be rotating on. Rotate around that edge. Let's see. Cube should be touching the floor at the edge it's rotating around, not meeting at the center. Okay. I think I don't know. I'm gonna see what it does here, and then maybe I'll try to move on a little bit. But you know, I kind of like want to see it. I want to see it succeed because it succeeded in some of this other stuff that I'm asking it to do, and like this just feels like it shouldn't be too much of a difficulty here to get this rolling right. So this might have to be good enough for now. Okay. All right. So let's. Okay. So make the cube, the floor cubes. Fade to black again, but make the edges glow white. We're going to update the look a little bit to give this kind of that like futuristic Tron look again. And then I'm going to start thinking about the actual gameplay here. So we're 50 minutes in. I really wanted to get that rolling thing right, but so be it, you know. So what can we do here? Let's see how it handled this. So update the look. Okay, that's actually too white, so we don't want to do it like that. Okay, so get rid of the glowing edges, and make the cubes have no light if they are far away from a character again. Okay. So we're going to go back to that. I still want it to have edges. I just don't want them to be glowing. So I want to be able to see these edges here. And let's refresh. Yeah, doesn't look quite right here. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool again. We'll try this for a bit. Now, make it so that each floor cube permanently changes color to the color of the character cube that rolled over it. All right, so now we're getting into some of the actual gameplay here. You know, this is like a slightly different concept here, where we're starting to make something actually happen. Let's see what it does with this. This is probably a big ask, so we'll see how it can handle. Modify the code to track and update floor cube color. So it probably wasn't really tracking it before. So, you know, it didn't have its like array of the cubes and the colors. So now it's going to start tracking it. I'll modify the code. Let's see what it does here. I'll ask the agent to do anything. Let's see. Is that completed? Oh, okay. The new cubes should glow, similar to the player cube. Bring back glow for all character cubes. All right, I think this is going to start looking cool. So we're going to leave behind a trail. So we're going to be in the darkness, but we're this like glowing green cube, and we're going to leave behind a trail of also green cubes on the floor. And the other players, which don't exist yet, but they're out there, you can see them. Let's see if I move the camera around, if you can see them. You know, we got a red one over there. The camera's like forcing its way back. It doesn't want to move, so that's okay. So now let's see if it did this. So this should glow now. So as we move, no, is it not? Oh, it's still working. Okay. So it's still generating. Restore the glow effects for all cubes. So let's move around a little bit and just verify that it's doing what we want. Okay. That's all good. It seems to be keeping them the same. Let's see if how it handled this glowing situation here. Okay. It sort of lost it looks super cool, but whatever it's doing, it lost the thread of like, it should be leaving behind a trail. Okay. Make the glow more simple. Just set the cubes you roll over to maintain their lighted color. All right, so yeah, I don't like this kind of like glow effect. You know, it's kind of neat, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, it is actually pretty cool, and maybe we'll see what it says about it. I've made several changes. Changed the mesh Phong material with emissive properties. Added an initial subtle glow. Enhanced the color update. Adds a glowing outer cube, semi-transparent. Interesting. So it did a lot of stuff, but like I said, I'm not even looking at the code. I don't intend to. I'm just going to see how it's handling my instructions here. Okay, this is closer to what I'm looking for. Except that we lost our edges. Okay, so I want it to bring back the edges. Bring back the edges, please. And give the initial cubes a very light blue color. Bring back the white edges, please. Okay. I think this is good. Let's see what it does here. So I'm going to keep moving around just because I think it's kind of like we're getting somewhere with this. Okay. Now, should we make this game like you capture territory? I think maybe. I got to make the camera a little smoother too. But let's see what this next version looks like. So it's kind of like a fog of war here. Like you've got like, you can't really see. There's going to be some other stuff around and maybe some obstacles of height or other things. But then let's see if we can get these other players to move next maybe. Okay, so let's see here. We've got, let's refresh. Hey, oh, it's still generating. Okay, it's just taking a long time. I'll add the white edges to all cubes and make the initial floor cubes a very light color. It's having a bit of a harder time with this. Like it's taken longer than some of the other ones. So let's see. In the meantime, I'll just keep rolling around. At least it's got that rolling motion. It's not perfect, but it's better. I need to make the camera a little smoother, I think, also. Once this is finished, I can update the camera part too.
This one's taken quite a while. Maybe we're reaching like, let's see how big the file is. I don't really have a concept of how many lines of code we're at now. All right, we're at 373. That's not too bad. Shouldn't have any difficulty, I wouldn't say, with the file this size. I can't imagine how big some of these other files are sometimes. So I would assume, you know, it can handle much bigger files than this, but it is still generating. Maybe I'll stop it and just, maybe it got stuck. Okay, so try again. I'll see if we can just do that same thing again. All right, so I'll modify the code to add the black and white edges and make the initial floor cubes a very light blue color. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I was just a little stuck before. All right. So what do we want to do next? I think the next thing I want to do is I still want it to kind of like make the look closer to what I'm thinking. But this is pretty close. Okay, so give the cubes no, let's see. What do we want here? No, okay. Okay, let's go big. Make the other cubes move around somewhat randomly, but they also leave a trail with their color. All right, now we're moving into game AI, and when I say AI, I do not mean real AI again. I'm just talking about like, hopefully, probably just a random movement. We can at some point, I can probably like make them a little smarter one way or another. But I think this should work here. And I wonder why this is like, I've noticed that, this white area here, I don't really want it to, I don't want those to be so, I want it to sort of fade, like it's light and not like it's like the edges here. So I'll update that after this. Let's see what it's doing here. Get movement direction. All right, let's see if it understands. This was a big ask. I just gave it a big ask. I asked it to implement these other players here. So let's see what it does. I'm going to wait for it to finish here so it can finish telling me what it did. Each non-player, I'm not even going to read it really, but basically it waits a few seconds and it doesn't run off the platform. And let's see what it does here. Oh, I can see them moving. Let's go and visit them. Do 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 do. Let's see. Okay. I think it's doing what it should be, but they're not very smart. They kind of just move over. Okay, first of all, make the other characters. Oh, no, here we go. Make it impossible to move a character over any colored floor cube. Bum, bum, bum. So this means that they will not be able to keep rolling over their own, and also I will not be able to roll over their path. So it's going to be like, it's going to allow you to set up these kind of blocks so that there's like a wall between, you can draw your own walls, and then not only you, but other characters are not able to go through those walls. Let's see if it understands it. Okay, it's updating it. Review changes. No, I'm just going to accept it and refresh. Okay, now let's see what happens. Can I go through my own? No, that's good. That means I could potentially trap myself in, right? Oh, I've lost. I've trapped myself in. That's funny.
But that's good. That worked. Let's see if these other characters are following it. Okay, let's make them move. Make the other characters move much faster. I'll just say that for now. Because they're chugging along, but it's like they move every 2 seconds or something. And that's not good enough for sort of our fake game AI here. I don't like this white. Okay, so player's green cube maintains its original speed for better control. Okay, let's see if that works. All right, they are moving. They're making paths. There's red trapping itself in. I love it. I'm just going to trap red in for fun here. Oh, sorry, red. Okay, it looks like you can go off the edge here. Okay. Make the edge color not such a harsh line. Have it also fade out based on distance from characters. Okay, so we just want to give it like a little bit extra here. Okay, but this is kind of going where I was hoping here. It's starting to look a little bit like the game I imagined in my head here. Let's see. Trapped here, but I can keep rolling. Rolling. Right now I need to be able to hold down, I think. And refresh. I think every other character is now trapped in place here, which is kind of funny. Something a human probably wouldn't do, but okay, good. It's updated my colors. All right, yes, this is good. The other characters are moving. Now, how should we handle multiplayer? Should we even get into multiplayer yet? I guess we're just going big or going home. So let's see. Make it so that how do we do this? So that a room is created that has up to 4 people. Okay, this might be a little big for my brain right now. So we can sort of see how this is going to go here. So I think that may be the end of my experiment here. Or we'll just try a little more. Let's just see what happens if I make it a multiplayer game. Sometimes you got to think big. Where someone from another browser joins, they take control of one of the colors. That's probably going to throw it for a loop, huh? I don't really want it to be socket stuff. That to me doesn't feel like the right solution, but I think it's going to do socket stuff. Create a simple WebSocket server. Add player management. Synchronize cube movements between players. All right. It's creating a new file called server.js. That's interesting. I kind of didn't want it to do a new file, but, you know, I'm trusting it to know how to handle this. That's not kind of my... this is what this experiment is. I want to see what it does. I want to see what the cursor AI does. Okay, so let's see what it's doing here. Is it updating yet? This is going to be a little tricky. Like, I'm not even sure how I'm going to test this. I guess I'll open up a new browser here. Should it be a new browser or a new browser window? I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, what is this? It's going to require me to do some other stuff here. I'm going to ask it, can this work with no node? I want to just use a single HTML file with all JavaScript included in that file. What do you think it's going to say? That's my question. So is it going to try, or is it just going to say like, oh, like if you need WebSockets, you need like, a separate file, you need like a node server, like, okay, let's see what it says here. I've converted the game to use WebRTC via Peer.js instead of WebSocket, eliminating the need for a Node.js server. Okay, host game creates a new game, join game, use an ID. When someone hosts a game, they automatically become the green cube. Okay, this is perfect. It looks like, oh, look at this. Since use uses WebRTC, you need to access the file through a web server, not just opening the file directly. Have an internet connection from the initial peer connection. Okay, so it's not, I can't do it through just host game. It gives me a room ID. And yeah, it's saying I have to access this through here. I have to start up a Python server. So, okay, I think this is probably where I'm going to stop for now. And I'm going to ask it to, undo that, go back to the index.html version of the game. We'll just do that for now. Oh, okay. Just in a nick of time, you used up your 50 free Claude Sonnet 3 requests. So, okay. All right. That was my vibe coding experiment. If you watch this video, let me know what you think. Is this something you would try? And I'll just say I've never tried this before. Maybe that's clear from the way I'm working with it. It took me a long time to get those rotations acceptable. But I think it was pretty interesting as a kind of way to hack something together. And I can imagine that the better it gets, the more interesting kind of games you can sort of do. And I didn't even look at the code. If I was going to, I can see being able to like make a correction, make better comments on how they did stuff. But I like the idea of like, sometimes I'm sick of coding. I've done all week long. It's Friday afternoon. I just want to sit back and tell the computer what to do, and maybe even with voice in the future. And I think this is a step in that direction. So that's it. Have a good weekend.